Welcome back, guys, to yet another World of Warcraft: The War Within video. Today we are going to be talking about a singular Jewelcrafting alt army build. Now it is one particular build, but it has a couple of different styles, which means that it's going to be used on a lot of characters. I'm going to cover this because it's something that I was really interested in, but also something that I wanted to get to you guys right before the expansion launches, because at the time that this video actually comes out, it's probably like 1 day before early access, maybe 2, depending on the timings and everything like that. But before we do get straight into the video, make sure that you guys drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with all the notifications on, because that way you won't miss any future videos for anything Goldmaking related or other things that I might make on the channel that you could be interested in potentially. But either way, I appreciate it greatly. Also, make sure that you check out Goldcapped in the link down below, both in the description actually, but also in the pinned comment, and use code SANSFUL for 10% off. It's an interesting place. You should go check it out. But anyway, let's get straight into the video. So what we are talking about today is going to be prisms, okay? This is a very simple build, and this is from an absolute minimum perspective. This can get a lot better once we get more knowledge points and further into the expansion, you know, with more weekly unlocks, better profession gear, and all of this jazz. But I want you to show you guys something that is very, very interesting, just because of the time-gated potential that this is. Now, if you haven't seen prisms before, this is a crafted item, and I'm just going to craft this one. You will see that these have a cooldown of 20 hours. Now, 1000 concentration, as you can see here. I'll actually go over to the blue one here, and I'll show you a minute for the knowledge points. This is something that uses about, at this point, 300 concentration. Now, with the green profession gear added on top of this, maybe a couple more levels, you know, because you can see these are actually going to give you 2 skill each time you craft one of them. You're going to get further and further in, and that will lower this amount of concentration by quite a considerable amount. Right now, it takes about 4 full days to recharge 1000, so you can do 4 of these at the quality 3 from, you know, you could do 1 per day, basically, which is fine because these have a cooldown of 20 hours, so you don't actually lose out on very much. Now, one thing that's interesting, this particular one, Algari Amber Prism, this is something that you learn from the trainer once you reach 50 in Jewelcrafting. So it's likely that this is not going to be something that's super worth it, because it doesn't require anything other than getting it from the vendor or, well, trainer. But the thing is, it still has a 20-hour cooldown, and if you can make this at quality 3 from the get-go, if you decide to spend your concentration on this, then that's great. Because now I obviously can't make it because I've already done it, but if I open this up, you can see here that we've used 3 ambivalent ambers, 1 inverted prism, and 3 crossed gemstones, which is not a lot for a crafting cost, okay? If I open this up, you'll be able to see that you can't actually see that because of my camera, but you'll be able to see that I got 12 ambivalent ambers out of this. So if you look at the total cost of what this, you know, is, then 12 ambivalent ambers, if that is worth more than what you actually used to craft it, then that's great. Obviously, you can also see that this is rank 3 materials of crushed gemstones and inverted prisms. Depending on price points when you're looking at this video, that might not actually be super worth it, so you might have to drop it down in quality, but still, that's something to consider. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the KP, right? The knowledge points for this. All you need is to get into gem cutting. You need to put 10 points into gem cutting, and then 15 points into either sapphire, ruby, onyx, or emerald. And here's the kicker. You can eventually fill these out on each one, right, as you get further into it. But just when we're talking about an absolute big starting point, you could do each of these and just, you know, do it like that, have a character for each one. And the reason why is you might be like, okay, well, 25 points is not that much. I could probably get 50 or a little bit more than that without too much trouble, and then I could cover 2 potentially, right? Well, if you put another 10 points into here, you unlock another sub-spec, then that's another 15. Yeah, realistically, that's only another 25 points, which is fine. But here's the thing. If you have multiple, then the amount of these prisms that you can actually make is way more than you can cover with your concentration. So because of the fact that you have concentration, think of it like this, right? If you have one alt per kind of gem, one for sapphire, one for ruby, one for onyx, one for emerald, that means each of those characters will have its own version of concentration, which means in this case, if you use rank 3 materials, you can say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and use my concentration, craft this thing, log over to the next alt, and then I'm going to do it for ruby, and then I'm going to do it for onyx and emerald. And that way, that becomes really, really good. And you can also see a difference between this one that you learned from the trainer, which is just regular green gems. This is actually going to be the rare gems. So this is a little more pricey, but just to show you, this one will also give you those gems. So here you can see, and these amounts can swing up and down a little bit, but you can see here we used 2 stunning sapphire, 1 inverted prism, 3 crushed gemstones to get 14 stunning sapphires, which is pretty good. It's actually pretty considerable. And you might be wondering to yourself why these actually make sense in terms of a concentration related thing. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and show you and get one of these other ones for the purpose of this video. We're just going to go ahead. Boom, 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 boom. Going to get all the way up here. Now we have the ruby one. If we were to consider, oh, we're going to go ahead and make this at a rank 2 instead. Right? We have that done. Then we open this and you'll see we only get 10, right? So on the rank 3, we got 14, but on the rank 2 of these, we only got 10. And now I can show you this. Just I might as well also just show it a couple more times for these other ones. So we're going to go ahead and make a rank 3 version of the onyx and then another rank 2 of the emerald, so you'll be able to tell the differences. So this one, onyx, we'll just go ahead and make the rank 3. Boom. Right here, you'll be able to see, boom, we get 14 of these, right? For a rank 3. And then we have a here on the rank 2. Just going to go ahead and craft this. And boom, you see 11. So it impacts the amount of gems that you actually get out of it. So is it a considerable difference? Not that much, but it will make a difference. And if you have some leftover alts, we're talking 4 different alts here in this case, right? Unless you wanted more alts to have multiple versions of this, if this is actually super worth it. But again, if we go back to what I started at, this is actually really, really, really easy. You only need the first 10 points to unlock your first sub-spec, and then another 15 points. So it's 25 knowledge points. And considering you can get 24 of those from one-time treasures, and I also imagine that you could get a vast majority of them just from doing one-time, like first-time crafts and stuff like that, you don't even have to worry about it. And because this is so time-gated, even if there's a lot of competition and a lot of different people going for this market, there's not going to be so many that this isn't worth it in some way, shape, or form. There are a lot of people that, you know, might use these to be able to get higher and higher into the profession in terms of skill levels, but these, based on previous daily crafting systems that we've had in earlier expansions around items that are super high in demand, which these are going to be, because if you don't know what these are going to be used for, these are going to be used for the gems that everyone is going to be using for their gear. Okay, you can see here, just on this one, you need 6 of these rare gems, and a lot of gemstones and engraved gem cutters, which is a completely different build. But just to show you guys, like, this is going to be a very high in demand item, and this is a time-gated way to shuffle a smaller amount of materials into a bigger portion of materials. So just something to consider. I hope this makes sense. I know this is only one build, but as for jewel crafting, I really think that this is one of the more, at least important ones to focus on early. Because if you can get this started, this is a 20-hour cooldown, right? So if you can get started on doing these incredibly early, you will get a pretty good advantage. And get a lot of materials moving if that's the way that you want to go ahead and do it with your alt army. And again, I recommend having, you know, a character for each of these. So 4 different alts for this. That's what I would do. I might do a little more than 4 because I have a lot of alts, but either way, I hope this makes sense. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you drop those down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the next one.